Oh, welcome to the VideoMy podcast. We're here at ATC. I'm David Maccioca.
And I'm Craig Watson, and we're here with Daniel Chait, the CEO and founder of Greenhouse ATS. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. It's been a great show.
And you've just stepped off stage, dazzling the guests that were just here. Can you tell us a little bit about the theme of what you spoke about, and what's one or two things you really wanted the audience to really walk away with?
Yeah, so, we started Greenhouse in 2012, so it's been almost 14 years, and I would say there's never been a more disruptive time, and I use that word carefully, than there is today, between changes in the job market, obviously the rise of AI, the onset of remote work. The old paradigm isn't working anymore, and everybody's feeling it, and so we wanted to get up on stage with a customer, Jodette from High Pages, and just talk through, how is AI impacting the workforce and their hiring process? What are the risks and challenges, and what are some of the opportunities and techniques that they're using? So it's a great conversation, and I would say the audience is super engaged.
What sort of questions did you get?
Well, people asked about the product, which I thought was fascinating. We got into it. It was a little bit of a fun moment where I'm live on stage in front of 500 people, and a customer sitting next to me asking me for feature requests in the product, and I was like, "All right, yeah."
Well, lucky you got your product manager here.
They decided that's the best way to get your features done, is bring the CEO up on stage and ask him in public. But that was kind of fun. And then we talked about, I showed some stats, because Greenhouse in our history has processed now almost 1 billion job applications.
Wow.
So we see a pretty broad set of actually what's happening. And so I showed up with a little bit of data talking about what's really happening inside of hiring funnels and the rise of overwhelm on recruiter side, and the fact that applicants are getting lost in the mix, and then how AI is kind of making it all worse. And then we brought up our customer to talk about how they're solving it. So I kind of set the stage, and then she can come in and clean up.
You threw the ball up,
you got
and they hit it
and then
out.
she talks about all the good stuff they're
it.
doing. But they're doing amazing stuff. And she actually gave, I thought, one of the neatest recruiter techniques that I've heard, a really low-cost, simple way that they deliver an amazing candidate experience.
Let's share it with us.
You got to come to our website to find out. I'm kidding. I won't find out. Basically, what they're trying to do is, for people who invest a lot in their hiring process and they make it all the way, but they kind of come in second, right? Someone else gets hired. That's a disappointing feeling potentially, and they want to make sure that person comes away with a nice
silver medalist.
Silver medalist, right? So they, in dispositioning the person and letting them know they're going to move forward to someone else, they buy them a pair of movie tickets.
It's great, isn't it? Because we're in recruitment. We're in the business of rejection, really, because you have one winner
and all the people who didn't win.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's
You're
right.
about to call them losers.
I call myself. You just caught that, right? Yeah. All the people who are going to win next time.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Those are the
exactly
two categories. Yeah, but
so how are some of your customers using AI in their workflows via Greenhouse? How's it working?
yeah, I mean, tons of different ways. So. A lot of ways that are making the process more efficient would be kind of one big category of it. So
where's the biggest opportunity for efficiency to be gained?
Well,
with
I mean,
AI?
interviews, the way, if you think of the whole middle of the funnel, there's so much manual processing that goes typically on, scheduling an interview, getting who's busy and who's free, looking across your employee base to figure out who's actually good at giving this interview or who needs to be in that interview. That's a complicated and troublesome process. And then, of course, anything has to get rescheduled, it goes all over again. A lot of that is now being automated using AI inside of Greenhouse, and the customers are just able to push it, set it, forget it, and then the system can figure out who goes where and send out all the calendar invites. So that's one big way. Another big way is really getting insights. So one thing AI is great at is pouring through vast amount of data and highlighting kind of interesting parts of it. And so, one of the big areas for that in Greenhouse is if you've collected a bunch of scorecard information, a bunch of interview notes and ratings about an applicant, when you get to the end of that process, you're trying to decide whether to move forward or not. Greenhouse can summarize all of that, and it'll show the team as they sit down for that kind of huddle or disposition meeting, hey, what do we have a lot of confidence that this candidate's great at? Where do we actually have a little bit of maybe disagreement on the team we need to talk about more? Where do we maybe not know enough and we want to follow up? Or where do we feel really strongly about this person? So kind of sift through all that and really highlight where should you pay attention in all the data.
How are your customers thinking about who are hesitant adopting AI? Because some companies are very new to AI. They're a little bit hesitant,
Scared.
Yeah. How are you as a vendor trying to overcome?
Yeah. Well, and just to be clear, rightly so. right? I mean, AI, do you use other technologies that hallucinate? I don't know. Like, it's, right? I mean, there's real risks there. I mean, people worry, is it going to be biased? There's, of course, tons of regulation, and compliance issues that come up when you're using AI. So people have, a lot of concerns about it. So our role is, how do we help you take advantage of those opportunities, and how do we gain the benefits of it while managing and mitigating those kinds of risks? And so that's exactly the mindset that, our customers have, is they want to use these things. They want to get the help, but they don't want to fall afoul of the law or, compliance.
I don't know about you, but we do get lost in procurement land for one reason or another. But, not having a stance on AI, how's Greenhouse addressing that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we always, we have like a monthly anti-bias audit that we publish, which shows, the results of a bunch of testing of our systems so that customers can get some assurance. That's a big question customers ask. Also, what I found interesting as a global vendor dealing with thousands of companies all over the world is there is a proliferation of national, local, and even city level laws. There's New York Law 144 governing the use of algorithms in hiring. There's local laws in cities and states all across the U.S. and, of course, around the world. You have diverging political trends where some things that are becoming forbidden in certain areas are becoming required in others. And so there's just a ton of flexibility and a ton of evidence that we need to bring to the party to say, hey, we're going to help you become compliant.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I think even, you mentioned before about the collection of data and how that can be used better in making, non-biased and better decisions.
Yeah.
And I think if businesses look more closely at that, because, one of the bugbears of particularly recruitment functions is a hiring manager who leans into more their opinion as opposed to, gut feel, as opposed to data-driven decisions. And AI can help in that way.
It can help, and I think the place where we've really honed in on is AI should be doing decision support.
Yep.
It should not be making decisions. And if you're deferring a hiring decision to an algorithm, you're doing yourself, the candidate, a big disservice and exposing yourself to a lot of risk. So we've been very careful. That's like a clear line that we've drawn, is the algorithm, the AI is not going to be making those decisions for you, but is going to help you get to a decision faster, show you the evidence behind the decision, and just generally support you in doing a better job.
And in terms of acceptance of AI, how's the Australian region or the APAC region sort of in comparison to others?
I really was interested to know what he thinks of Australia and compared to the rest of the world.
It's been great. It's my first time in Australia. Not a short trip from New York City, 24-hour more or less journey.
And you're leaving us straight away as well.
And I'm only get to be here for a week. But I will say it's been... it's interesting because on the one hand, we're relatively new to the region. We have about 200 customers in the region, but like lots of businesses are still getting to know who we are and what we do. But on the other hand, so that's like a big difference, is I feel like we have a well-known and very established brand in our markets that we've been in.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the same issues that we hear coming up over and over again, and the same attitudes and the same concerns and the same dynamics are happening very much here. So when we say things
we're not that far,
we say things like, hey, like, we see customers that have, fraud and misrepresentation, candidates using deep fakes, penetration by North Korean, actors in their hiring process. That's happening here. When we see, I want to be able to use AI to help me move faster, but I'm not sure exactly how to get there. Like, those are the same kind of concerns that we hear too. So there are a lot of similarities. And, I think that's part of why we're excited to be here.
It does feel like we're in a global economy.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're impacted by what America's doing and China, and
it's all intertwined, right?
Yeah, it really
absolutely.
is. Yeah,
it is. Hey, Daniel, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I really, really appreciate it. Busy schedule, in and out, bumping in and out, and just coming off the stage, and also obviously Greenhouse being involved with ATC at a high level. So thanks for giving some time today.
Thanks for being a supporter of ATC.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been a great show, and looking forward to continuing the conversation.